So today we're going to have the last course in the basics of calculation. And it's going to be a chance for you to ask questions for anything you want repeated or, anything basically to do with calculation. And also I will show a few examples of some of the more advanced techniques. A lot of you will know the advanced technique from my book Calculation, because it's essentially Madras's system, which I, over time, have found out that there was that there was a foundation needed beneath it, that I even needed to teach very strong grandmasters. So the chat here, first of all, there's a question. When is it my birthday? Maybe you'll surprise me. Well, if you find out what my birthday is, that will already be a surprise. But always, so it's like, oh, it's Petra's birthday. Who is he? Petra is a young lady who is a very talented chess player, who is a member of 365 and present today. Owen says his dad keeps playing the homework song out loud on his phone. Yes, I have the same birthday as Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling. So Anna says that the homework club was easier than last time. Yeah, but easier doesn't make it easy, I think. Have I made a song for this homework? Some of them were right, most of them were wrong. I don't know. I'll have to work on it. So there was a comment earlier here by Vatsal. Queen b2 or queen a1 followed by queen e6, knight f4 seems easily winning. I think Alberto mixed around two comments here. I think he meant to say that the quality of the music is higher than the chess training. Is that correct? So here, yeah, queen b2 or queen a1. Owen, you need to stop with this. I don't want to know. Thank you for telling me when my birthday is. I knew already. It's not my birthday, though. It's Petra's birthday today. So here, we have queen b2 or queen a1. So already I think Aracha and Sais got it wrong. Right? So right. I'm just so used to everyone getting it wrong. I'm in shock. Someone had it right. So I'm gonna talk about some of these themes in this lesson, but mainly I'm hoping there will be some really great questions on the classes we've gone through. There was one great question, which is, why are there 14 recordings of calculation in the on the dashboard? I don't know. We will have to check, because no, I think there were. It's not a mistake, because there were this tab we have to do. Okay, so there was one lesson, which I think was the 3rd of May, where the Zoom recording wasn't there, and I decided to record again. But then half of the lesson, I decided to use different examples with the same the same theme. So it's actually worth, even if you were there for the live class, you can watch the first half. And then John says one of them is split into part 1 and 2.
26th of January, I think.
26th of January, says Kalia here. So there's a question of what is my next course? Well, at the moment, I'm doing a lot of under 1800. So that's where you can find me. And I'm doing homework club, of course. And we have a lot of coaches. I have a lot to offer. So I'm not going to have an additional course of my own at the moment. I think you see enough of me. So here, okay, so we are now at 4 Indian kids have all found the right move. So the first topic here is prophylaxis, but let me start by saying it in this way. That here we have a choice. So queen d3, knight d3 is wrong. Knight f6, knight f2. Things are going in the wrong direction. And for this reason, queen b2 or queen a1, Vatsal's choice was right. But this here is a case of prophylaxis. So when we have a choice like this, it could be comparison. Now in this case, I put it under prophylaxis. These themes and categories, we always have to remember them as a human way to explain something much more complex. And we try to make some shortcuts, some mental shortcuts. And in this case here, we have Ellen and Arnav have also found the right idea, and Jeet has found the right idea. So a lot of people finding the right idea. I want to give people a chance. Yes, this is a game by Renier that he showed me that I had found in my files today. And I thought, great, let's have some Renier. I always love when we have some Renier. I have to say, working with him is an absolute joy, and I hope you enjoy him as a coach, and I think he's getting better and better. So here, queen b2 or queen a1. I think we have 8 people's got it by now. And Tien's got it, Charles got it. I think you all know what's got it. Okay, so Renier is texting me here. So he's asking me, why did he do wrong things with in the homework club? And I'm saying, I don't know, not my fault. So Garange got the right move. I think actually all our coaches are really, getting into it and getting much better. Sometimes it's hard to remember we've only been going for 4.5 months. So while everyone else is thinking about this program, Aracha has a very nice question, which I'm going to read aloud. It's long, so I haven't read it all yet. I have observed that when doing the puzzles, especially of calculation, I find it easy to slow down and calculate, but I feel that I am struggling and don't have the briskness which one should have. So this is an interesting question. People are very happy to try to see if they can understand it better than I can. Because to me, it sounds a little bit that like when you're slowing down, things are going slower. And that you have a presumption of briskness, which I'm not even sure exactly what you mean with in this case. The idea of slowing down is not well, when you slow down, you slow down. I'm not trying to make it facetious, but for example, here, this is a 1-move calculation. So if you see what the opponent can do against one of the 2 moves, as Alberto and Jeet have both discovered just now, and Brian, if you see what the problem is with 1 move, you see the other. But it's so often I get these 7, 8, 9 move long submissions in homework club. And on move 1, I'm like, what if I just take the queen, or you're in check, or things just go out of people's control. The thing is here, this is an important point. You don't know in advance which moves you should be calculating quickly. You don't know which things you should be seeing quickly. It's much better to go slow and not miss something. This is one of the things I have said again and again and again through this class. And I think it is probably, in terms of understanding how to calculate better, it is probably one of the most important things, which is that on top level, really top level, it's very rare that mistakes that change the course of the game happen later than 3 moves into a variation. There are exceptions, and these exceptions are usually in positions where there is a very limited amount of options. So, okay, so here, our good friend Renier, he played the most pleasing looking move, Queen A1, and then came Knight G4 and draw. So if you see this counterplay, you play Queen B2, and there's no variation here. Now we win the knight, or Knight G4, we just have Queen takes F2, we win the Queen. It's just over. But the difference here is, of course, here we cannot take an F2 because of Rook D1, and nothing here. But if we imagined here the Queen was on B2, bang, Queen takes B2. Okay, let me see. I have some other examples prepared for you. Now, this here is a more tricky thing. This was something that Mark always insisted should be included in, what do you mean, Bashik? So this was something Mark always insisted should be included in books on calculation and in material, which is traps. Yes, Kushal's got it right before I said it. Traps. And some of you have probably heard me say this before, that for me, it's, I don't know, it's a very difficult topic. I have a few examples, but Mark's material was much better on this than mine. And he's only the greatest chess trainer of all time, or one of a very limited amount of them anyway. So that's probably not a great surprise. 3 junior world champions. And yeah, at some point, I remember when I was younger, maybe like 20, 25 years ago, maybe as much as 30, almost half the players in the world, top 100, had trained with Mark at some point. It was some ridiculous number. Now, of course, he's been dead for a few years, but okay. So here it's white to play. And I'm just going to give you a chance to sort of get a little feel for the position. So you get a feeling for what's going on. You can't see it. I actually did the right thing, which was here. Can you see it? Okay, I clicked the right places. I remembered I was a good boy. So this is a great game from the World Cup by Jeffrey Song. He's right through the World Cup. Last year was just, it was astonishing. It really was something special. So here white is just lost. There's some hope of something wild with with rook d8, but it's not going to work. There's a difference between desperation and on traps. So can anyone quickly tell me what's wrong with rook d8? It's white to play. Two things you can say. You can see this little circle down here, and you could also see I have the right way. So the suggestions are coming in. If nothing else, we have queen c7. Just winning. Actually, taking it is also fine, but it's just winning. I would guess this variation which was giving, which was rook d8, rook takes d8, queen e5, king h8, knight e5, queen c7, f4. But assume rook takes g2 is mate somehow there. But yes, rook d8, queen c7 check. And just wins the rook straight off. Rook d6, rook d8. Okay. So here it's just to give you a feeling of the position, because the trap is brilliant, and it's like I found as exercises these things are almost impossible, and I would have to give you 45 minutes anyway. This is a spark of total genius here. So white here, f2 is hanging. White plays king g3. Now this is a huge trap. Which move would we expect black to play? What's the tempting move in this position? So there's some queen c7, guys. No, that's not it. Rook takes f2 seems very much an overreaction. After king f2, e5, queen c4, you lost. So, okay, most people are, if you slow down and look, most people will see the same. I'm just going to give you a moment here. The most tempting move in this position is e5. Everyone said it now, I think. So here, e5. Let's see if we can find out. We're black now. Rook takes f2, king f2, e5, queen c4, check. You lost. So e5, what is the trap here? Let's try to think for a few minutes. I'm going to mute myself and let you think. We'll give you 2-3 minutes. Okay, let's see what we come up with here. What happens after e5? Let's see if we can find a consensus on the main line. So there's a few suggestions. So what is the crowd going with? I think there's a majority of queen g6, but there's also some queen a4. Now let's start with queen a4. What does black play after queen a4? Let's slow down and look. We don't want to race off with long variations. I've seen some funny things. If we just slow down after queen. So, okay, so there's some people who have internet problems and problems with hearing. So here, black is very tempted to play e5. It's the most logical move in the position because of this combined attack. We need to understand what's happening here. So the question was, after e5, queen a4, what do we expect black to play? I'm seeing a number of correct responses, but if we slow down, we can see which move is natural. Not queen c6. We're not going for a drawn ending. That's not the purpose. No Kevin. No Jeremy. No Atreya. Pawns on e5. So Michael, no, that's not the right move. So pawn is on e5. e5, queen a4 we're discussing at the moment. And not king f8, no. So the most natural move after e5, I'm just making them like this because I want you to keep things in your head. And then queen a4 is to play rook f8, intensifying the pressure. And if you don't have a reply to that, you're not doing well. So, and I don't see a reply, I have to say. You don't have to look for it. You're welcome to, but I don't see it. So after queen g6, which is a very natural move, because if e d8, queen e8, queen f8, queen takes f8 is easiest, knight takes d4, and we hold this draw with knight and 3 pawns against rook and 2. So queen g6, we should expect which move? It's not rocket science. So everyone's coming with, again, rook f8. Okay, does white have any move after that? Jeet has already found an interesting idea. Can you also see what could be the problem with it? No, Kushal? Yes, Boris? Yes, Shahil, Sai, and so on. And I'm not going to say that about everyone else here. So Vachal has worked out what the point of the whole problem is. Black doesn't want to play queen c6. Yeah. So after e5, queen g6, black plays queen f8. Sorry, not queen f8, rook f8. So the moves are e5, queen g6, and then rook f8. And here a lot of you have found rook d7 as an interesting move. Now, what is the problem with rook d7? And it's not queen takes f2. That's not what you should expect. Then after king h2, it's mate, or black has to give up. So now everyone sees the problem. And now here we are in a common territory, which is, this is basic calculation technique. there's a few things here. First of all, impulse control. That's one thing. Second thing is, in a critical moment, you should finish your calculation by looking for a move, because this is the most important moment in the game. Rook d7, everyone is seeing rook takes f3. Check. And it's very easy to think, and black wins, right? I'm sure a lot of you have like thought that. And now there comes a lot of, oh. Oh, I think Owen, are you saying oh because your father just started the homework song again? Oh no, it now says from Owen, even though I think it was two separate messages. Well done, Jeremy. Okay, so let's see here how the game progressed. By the way, if you understand the problem here for black, you can play normal moves. You have like rook c3, or you can play various safety moves. But of course, black was very happy he was going to win at once. Like this. And then most of you have already realized that this is happening. And here Raja says, it still look good for you. Did you see this move? Oh, you're okay. So here we had a situation where I'm sure when black played e5, he saw rook takes f3. I'm also sure that Jeffrey had seen it was coming and had seen this trick. And I don't think he was looking for a trick. I think he was looking at like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, everything is falling. E5 is coming and so on. And then he saw it and then he sorted out. And he was like, okay, why not? You know, there's nothing to lose here. So the game went like this. And white was a little better, but you know, it was not total injustice, and the game ended a draw. Let me see if I can find my next example. Now this is from one of my own games. Let me see if I can put it up. It's just a variation. He didn't play like this. If he had played like this, he would have won the game. Did you manage to see one of my own games now? Good. So please ask me more questions about calculation. You can also ask me about your solving experiences with Homework Club, anything that is to do with the thinking process during the game. Meanwhile, here you are, check. I have to say, for me with homework, it is always what is the word? It's always very pleasant for me when someone doesn't see that the end check. And it's for the basic reason that a lot of you enjoyed having Nihal on earlier in the week, which is you feel more human when you see that others struggle as well. So here we have a white choice, yes. Now, hands up, how many would play King H7 without thinking? Don't use the raise hand function, but thank you for those who are running enough to do it. Okay, so here there's an important point with what Jeremy is saying. So Horne is quick. And Jakob is saying that my friend Jakob from Denmark from many years is saying that because it's a a trick situation here, he's not going full for it. Well, otherwise, yeah, sure, King H7. It looks so fine. Yeah. Luckily, my opponent did not play Rook A8. It could have been in the previous section where we had talked about traps, and maybe I should move it to be in traps, make it half a move more difficult. Now here there's a few moves we can eliminate very quickly. Let's say we can eliminate Queen B8. We can eliminate Bishop C8. Thank you, Brian. Anything else we can eliminate immediately? Because now we are talking elimination, which happens all the time in defense. Knight D8 we can eliminate. Why do you want to eliminate Knight D8? How? Well, King H7 because this is a trap, but we don't know it's a trap. So you want to eliminate Knight D8 because of Knight D5. Yeah, maybe there's Knight EC6. Knight B8, Bishop A7. I think we can eliminate that. And Knight D8 we can probably eliminate because of Bishop E1, Bishop C3. Let me give you a shortcut there. I haven't looked at this position for a few years, but I think that's it. Queen B8 we already eliminated. Now we eliminate it twice just to make sure we don't play it. So we're left down with yeah, Knight D8, Knight D3 also looks good. We are left with legal moves only, Owen. We are left down with Rook D8 and King H7. Rook D8 or King H7. So going by basic principles, what's the move that we're most likely to play in a blitz game, or our first thought, or most natural move? It's King H7, as everyone agrees. So we should try first to see if there are any problems with King H7. Of course, we come back to eliminating the other guys later. We just did it now to narrow down our choice for the purpose of the exercise. Gaurang has been smoking something, I think. It doesn't make sense to me. If you maybe try to move the words and sentence around. And Arnav is saying there's a trap. No, it's not how we play. Doc is somehow scared of being a piece up. Knight E6, pawn E6, Bishop H5, Rook F2. Doesn't look dangerous to me. So here, King H7. Brian is saying if my opponent is staring on me, King H7. Yeah, Ellen, I know you saw it. Also, Jeet, I know you saw it. Okay, so here, essentially, this is one of the things in calculation. You should always know what your opponent's next move is. So here after King H7, this is so important. Here. Okay, so there's one suggestion here, which is, I know Boris and a few others have found something very strong, but there's a suggestion of King H7, Bishop E1, but then I have Rook E2, Bishop C3, Queen B7. Black's not worse. Michael has found a good move. Sai has found an interesting idea, but I can maybe play a Knight H5, King H7, Knight H5. I maybe have Bishop G4. I don't know, maybe you have Bishop E2 there. Like Bishop G4, Rook F2, Bishop E2. So I think knight h5, I probably have to just play knight g6. So Shai found something good. Yeah, knight g6, as Arat is saying. No tricks, no need for tricks. Just knight g6 and the bishop's hanging on e2. Garanj has found a good move. So let's think. You know, during a game we have to see what will my opponent play? Why did he play check? There's no need saying what the move is if you don't know why. So here, why not king h7? It's so natural. Why not just play king h7? What could possibly go wrong? I'm just giving everyone a chance. Not knight h5. We have knight g6. This we've already established. Ritwas has found a good move. Okay. Let's put the king here and do like this. So, Petra, have you solved this one yet? White to play and win. Have you solved it? Otherwise, this is time for the birthday candles to come. You're right, Michael. What about cake? I don't know. I think with my baking skills, yes, Shahil, my baking skills, I think Petra would prefer not to have it. Bashik's got it, Vatsal's got it finally. Vatsal, did you solve it, or did you just run out of other legal moves to suggest? Knight h5, we have knight g6. Betrayer, can you actually hear me when I'm talking? Are you doing this without without headphones or something? No reply. Probably without sound. Petra, keep thinking. You're getting there. It's your birthday. It should work. And Vatsal confesses he ran out of decent looking moves. So he started to look at the indecent moves. It was very wise of you. Well done, Atreya. So I want to underline this thing. We've been through this long journey. Bishop e3 or queen e3 doesn't really work. No, it's white to play and win very, very quickly. We've been through this long journey where we looked at many, many basic things again and again. And to me, this is really the important part, and why I wanted to do this course. And in due time, I'm going to write a book that's going to be called Beyond Imagination. I've been planning to write it for years, but I haven't written any books for years. So this lockdown has been very productive for me. because I feel that the basics is really the main thing. And it's the visualization, it is the understanding of when to stop a variation, it's impulse control, it's the knowledge that calculation is seeing the things we don't automatically see. You then get all these mind techniques that you can put on top that we're doing today, which is like elimination, which is what we did here with black. Now, of course, in this position with white, we are in the case of Tarun, there's knight g6 in the end in your line. Now we are in the case of imagination here for white. There's a question about analyzing the games in the Simul. I have to say I did it last time because my games were reasonable and other people's games were reasonable, and they're very interesting games. Yesterday I played very badly. I apologize to those I won against anyway, because if you play badly, at least you should lose to everyone, but I didn't. I'm not going to really analyze the games much. I looked a bit at a few of them already. Well done, Kevin. But I actually thought they were not great. But there was one that will show up in Homework Club at some point. There's a suggestion that attendees should have more clock time. Good. So here we are. Petra has, what was my score? 8-4, I think, for me. But it was like really horrible things. So here, queen g7, knight h5. If the king goes to g6, rook g8 is mate, so must go to h7. And then come knight f6, and king g7. And then this is probably what a lot of you who didn't solve this missed, which is really very nice. And as I was saying, this was one of my own game. So there is a talk about it with too much time for me or too little for the participant. I only needed to use the time I needed. I just give myself much extra time to avoid losing on time. And then in the case of Motilev, he was playing much stronger players and he needed it. And we'll probably see some of his games treated at some point. But as I said, there was one position that will come in Homework Club where I wanted to play something, but I couldn't make it work, and you will get the chance to do it. Okay, let's move on. So let me see this position here. Let me find the share thing here. So there's a question of when is the next Simul. Well, we'll see if there's a next Simul. For now, we had one there because of the lockdown situation and everything. So here, when we talk about comparison, which is the theme in this position, and you can see that in the top. So let's see, what are the possible moves for black? What are the possible moves here? What do you think? By the way, people are asking, will the games of the Simul be analyzed? I think really, really important that you analyze your own games. That's really, really important. So the question is whether or not, I will look at them too. I looked at my games briefly, all of them. I always analyze all my games. These games here fall into the category of really, really bad day. So there's not much I can learn from it. And I accept that. So here, what are the candidates? Let's see candidates. So people are saying rook g8, which is a complex move. Knight g8, queen g6. And then after queen takes f5, I have queen f6 and an endgame. So we can always look at that later. We very quickly see this endgame. There's also queen g7 with an endgame. Queen g6, king h1. I don't think we achieved anything. White is threatening rook h5, rook g5, and queen takes f8. I think we should be a little careful. So knight g6 is suggested, which is one out of, I think, the two main options. More options. Knight d7 was suggested, but queen takes d7. I think we can throw it away very quickly. And here we have a suggestion of knight c6 also. So after rook f7, queen d8, I think rook f8, queen e7, we're here again. Yeah, queen d7, queen g6, yes, you still have to take an f6, and it will be a draw. At best. If rook g8, we have check. We have check here, and I play here, and black's not better. So. Queen takes h3, queen takes f8 mate. Yeah, that wasn't good. So, okay, Shahid is continuously very eager about this line. But I think I take here and I take an b7 and then should be fine. Maybe there's something stronger, I don't know. But for me, it's enough to just say, okay, here white is in all these pins. There's all these threats against white. If I see the variation going that white might be better, I'm just like, okay, you know, I don't think it looks interesting. Queen takes d7. I don't see why you think, Owen, that is. So Owen, he gives this line. And black wins. I'm not really sure. Oh no, not the homework song. So here. So eventually we end up with, we sort of need to play one of these two moves. This is our real choice. Knight c6 or knight g6. So some people are saying knight g6 and some are saying knight c6. What are the differences? Let's say white plays queen takes d6. This is my move on both lines. Then we'll get into the comparison scenario. So a good suggestion from Araja and from Owen. Good reasoning from other people as well. Rishi, Ellen. I think you guys mainly got it here, which is in the game, white played here. If black played here, and if queen d6 would have been worse. Instead, white played here, and now came a very poor sequence. And here again, we have a choice. So at Atreya, we don't use the raised hand function. You just talk in the chat. And if I pick it up, I pick it up. And if not, then there's 40 other people in chat. So here we have two options. Knight g4 and knight h7. So here we wouldn't use comparison. We use elimination. It's the same thing. It's worth to explain. Knight d7 also exists. Knight d7, rook d8, rook d6. I think you should be careful. Yeah, white could easily be better. Masai has found the difference. See, okay, this was not a, I want to say this in the right way. So this is not a clear-cut example of, no, Owen and Brian, not that. This is not a clear-cut example, a very great illustrative example of comparison. But still, the people who were sort of saying, okay, in this position I get this and this, I doesn't. Here, actually, here white should play knight g4 with equal play, knight d7. Then after king h6, knight f8, maybe king g5, and black's a little better. But if you play knight h7, which my friend Vaishali, Prague sister, actually did, then the game is just over, lost. So there was a few more moves made. Check. But in this position, knight g4 would have been equal, and in this position, queen takes d6 would even have given white the advantage. So you guys were exactly right on knight c6, that after queen d6, it has more than one advantage. So Owen correctly pointed out that knight d4 is very strong. But the point that and this is a really good move, so nothing negative, but it doesn't matter which move order you use, queen g6 or rook g8. But we have this option, no knight on g6, and we have the queen pinned on d6, so we can bring everything into the g line, and black wins. So these are just some of the more advanced things that you can look on with your calculation. I want to stress this point that the main problem strong players have with calculation, the main thing I'm teaching over and over and over and over again is slowing down. Make sure you actually see the options, not to give into emotional impulses, to finish your variations by looking for moves. These seemingly very basic things that we talked about in the course, just like in any other sport, the basics is what will get you somewhere. Mastering the basic, being able to do the basic things again and again in a very high level. That is what will give you the competitive edge. Then there are other things on top of it that will always be very useful. Seeing a lot of examples will simply give you a much better feeling for chess. If you actually are, understanding what you're seeing. There was a book once published that was saying that all you need to play chess well is good opening preparation and intuition, and calculation and intuition that you get from having seen 100,000 positions, having seen them, not understood them. And well, it's not untrue that the two old men who played every day in my chess club in Copenhagen had bad opening preparation, but they were really bad players, and they had been playing there for like 30 years, twice a week, for hours. They came first, and they left late. They were sitting there 4 or 5 hours, only playing with each other, old guys. You could say many reasons, oh, they were old and so on and so on. They had seen more chess than anybody else in Copenhagen had, and they were potentially, in a chess club setting, the two worst players in Copenhagen, because they were simply, there was no quality in anywhere. There was no reflection. There was no anything. What we learn from is analyzing things, from understanding things, is having things explained, is by trying to do things and evaluating why it worked or why it didn't work, constantly being intellectually engaged with the material. And that includes solving. Solving is a fantastic way of learning. You see all these interesting positions and all these patterns. You have some ideas that work, you have some ideas that don't work. And that's the way you develop a feeling for chess. You see all these small elements of chess turn this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, and you develop what we call intuition, which is a pattern recognition, and it's not always conscious. It's subconscious, because there's just too much for us to be conscious about it all the time. And we make much better decisions when we're not conscious about it, these patterns, because we cannot focus on so many things at one time. However, we also know that this kind of guessing, as it really is, based on patterns, has a limitation, very strong limitation, which is not very accurate. So this is why some players, who said Giri, they play really, really well to a point. When there are 3 good moves in a position, they will play one of them every time. When there's only one good move in a position and it's complicated and it doesn't just naturally fit into the patterns, he is less successful. As with many other players, it's very common. So here, final question from Shahil's second finest question, which is, what is our next topic? I'm not going to have a next topic at the moment. We are many coaches. We're trying to get other people to do some topics. I'll do under 1800. I'll be doing homework club. I'll show up once in a while and guess some things wrong in Renier's class. And Michael has a long question, which I'm going to go to in a moment. Etreya asks, should I do homework club? I strongly recommend it. What is worth knowing is that the deadline would take it rather serious. And the other thing is that, try to do it well. And if you don't do all the positions, that's fine. Don't just try to do don't just try to do something. And the instructions on page 4 tells you everything about how to send them. And it's very important you follow them and you don't try to think that they're for other people. Okay, Michael's question here is, does the ability to calculate in this way in Blitz come from playing lots of Blitz, or does it eventually get faster from focusing on classical play until one can eventually play competitive calculative chess at faster time controls as well? So it definitely comes from playing faster time controls and training. In slower time controls and training slower as well. This is something I've said to you guys again and again and again, which is like for page 3, which is hardcore calculation. There is no time limit. I don't want you to rush yourself. I want you to do the right things. When you can do the right things slowly, you will later be able to do them fast. It is the same in any other topic of life, because it's the same brain that does it. So if it's music, if it's driving a car, if it's, you know, more or less anything kung fu, I've seen also they train with very slow movement. I've seen there's a Russian tennis school where they train with very slow movements. Garant is saying, find it very hard to find intermediate moves. I shall remember that. If I get you in the simul, I'll try to throw in some intermediate moves to trick you up. I think we should stop here, because the question can always keep coming. Let's save some for Tuesday. I'm going to go and make dinner, I think. Thank you very much, guys. It was enjoyable as always. I hope you found this course interesting. And for some of you who has joined later, go back and watch the early sessions. So I think we have about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I'm told, from the administrative department. 2 weeks to go and check up these sessions. I know some of the advice has been very, very simple. And this is not because I'm oversimplifying it. It's because simple to understand doesn't mean easy to do. Thank you very much, and good night.